Welcome to a MELT Rebalance Sequence using the most beautiful specimen ever, Miss Carla. Carla is laying on the floor here, and she is now using her body sense to understand how her body is weighted to the floor. She's using these reference points called masses and spaces. Spaces are the body parts of her that are not touching the floor, and the masses are the parts that are. So she's hopefully scanning now from the crown of her head all the way down to her heels, noticing maybe she's got a little bit of space underneath her lower back. And I'm curious to know if she has some space maybe right around brow line or lower ribs. Carla, you have any space there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's got lots of space there, and that's okay. So we're going to get her on the roller here, and we're just going to see if we can make a little bit of a difference, helping her to feel just a little bit more grounded. So Carla is going to bend her knees, and she's going to roll over to her right side, and then I'm going to bring her to a roller. So she's going to get on the roller lengthwise with her bum at one end and her head on the other end. Go ahead and lay all the way down. Hands and elbows will be on the mat. She's going to turn her palms over. Her feet will be about hip distance apart. That's it, exactly. And then this is called gentle rocking. So Carla's just going to start rocking all of her masses and spaces from right to left. And so what this does is it gives us an awareness about stability. And as Carla shifts from right to left, and she can have her eyes open or closed, she's going to notice that perhaps one side, when she rocks into it, could be the right or the left, is going to be a little bit less stable than the other. So it goes on for about 30 seconds or so, but we're gonna move on. Carla, do you notice anything right side versus left side?
Right side is ridiculous.
Her right side is ridiculous. Not exactly sure what that means, but I think that's a good sign that she's noticing the difference between the right side and the left side. So now she's going to stop, she's going to pause, and then she's going to bring her hands onto her pelvis. So as she brings her hands onto her pelvis, her palms are going to rest just below the navel, but above the pubic bone. Then relaxing neck and shoulders, Carla's going to start moving her pelvis only, and it's tucking and arching. But this is a little different. It's not like cat stretch, let's say, in yoga. It's a gentle little kiss of her lower back against the roller. And then she's going to create a little bit of space there. So it's more subtle, it's softer, it's smoother. And here's the tricky part. You can't use your legs, so that means you're not going to use your feet or your glutes or your hamstrings to press the lower back into the roller. It can be a little tricky, and sometimes it takes time to find that. Give it a shot. Carla, what do you think? You find that?
Yes.
She said yes. Okay, we're moving on. So that's the pelvis. This is called differentiation. The next thing she's going to do is bring her hands onto her ribs with her elbows relaxing toward the mat. And now we're going to work the diaphragm, the rib cage, and intercostal muscles. Carla can close her eyes if she like. Yeah, she's closed her eyes. So feel the full circumference of your breath. So that is not always an easy thing to find. It's often that we're able to breathe easily up into the collarbones and the front of the rib cage. But I'm watching Carla's ribs, and they're expanding really not only to the ceiling, to the roller, but also to the right and to the left. And I can also see that there's also some expansion, some lift around her collarbones. How does that feel, Carla? She says it feels good. Right. So a couple rounds of breath, right? So we're feeling the breath, the full circumference, isolating the movement, not moving the pelvis yet. Nicely done. So now we're going to move on to the shoulders. Carla's going to stretch her arms straight up toward the ceiling, and then she's going to hug her shoulder blades toward the roller, keeping her arms straight, feeling the inner blades around the roller. Carla, do you feel that? She does. We're moving on. Pushing on her next exhale, it's like she's going to hand me this big basket of spring flowers, but she can't quite get it into my hands, so she's going to pull back now and hug the shoulder blades around the roller. And then she's going to try that a few more times. Pushing is going to be her exhale move. Hugging in will be her inhale. What we're trying not to do is move the ribs or the pelvis, but rather isolate or differentiate the movement of the shoulder blades. Pushing again is your exhale. Hugging in is the inhale. Just a few cycles, and I'll tell you, this mobilization really does make a really big difference when we stand up, and also when we get Carla. Cut. It's going to make a really big difference when we get Carla also to lay on her back. Hopefully she'll feel more connected to the floor. All right, so last thing here is for the neck, because remember, we've done the pelvis, tucking and arching, we've done the breath, and now we're going to have Carla bring her arms all the way back down onto the mat with the palms down. So now we're going to have her rotate her head to the right. So Carla's just going to rotate her head, and she's going to feel maybe a little stretch along the side of her neck. But if she's not feeling very much, she would then move her left arm away from the mat, maybe away from the roller, keeping her head in one position, and maybe exploring, being willing to move her arm around until she feels maybe a little bit bigger pull. Elbow can press straight, elbow can stay soft, but there's that sense of maybe pulling on two ends of a rubber band, with the chin being one end of that rubber band and the fingertips moving in the opposite direction. Carla, you feeling a stretch? She said yes. We're moving on. Bring your head back to center. She brings her head back to center and lowers her left arm back down and onto the mat. So second side, she'll turn to the left, rolling her head to the left, and she might actually feel something, and I actually saw a facial expression, so I think she did feel something more on this side, and that's really common, so don't be alarmed by that. So always moving mindfully, respectfully, not quickly, so that we can have that sense of just pulling gently on connective tissue. So she maybe moves her right arm away from the mat. It can be farther, closer, doesn't matter. You're hunting for what you feel. It's not how you look that's important right now. Maybe another breath or two here. Carla, you feeling this? Do you feel it more on this side? Yeah, and I noticed that too, just range of motion. And again, it's really common. Nothing to worry about. But once we kind of get into the habit of melting and looking after our bodies and what we feel, melting is a really efficient way of loosening up that sense of shrink wrap, especially in the more birthdays we have. All right, so lowering her right arm down, head back to center. Here's something fun. Carla's gonna love this. She's gonna be really good at this. Now bring her feet in just a little bit closer together. So this is a balance challenge. So she's gonna lift her right foot 2 inches away from the floor. I'm gonna encourage her to keep her eyes open. She's already giggling, so that's a good sign. And then she's gonna lift her elbows. She's gonna lift her elbows and tent her fingers onto the mat. And then she's gonna hover both hands away from the mat. And she's going to stay on the roller. She's a rock star, stud muffin right here. Look at that, that's fantastic. So right now we're checking in with the stability of her left side. Hands and elbows down, and then right foot down. How'd that feel?
Wobbly.
Well, she said it felt wobbly, but let's see what happens on side two. All right, so now the second side, Carla's going to hover her left foot. She's already really excited about this. And then she's going to lift her elbow. She's already done that. And then just, be patient. She's going to hover her fingertips away from the floor. And it's never about perfection. It's about, the hesitation. But we have a wobbly side and a really wobbly side, let's face it. And there it is. That might make a blooper roll. So now Carla's going to stretch out her right leg and roll off the roller. And that's all you have to do. That's the rebalance sequence. So she's going to roll to her right. She's going to roll off the roller, giggling along the way and laying all the way flat. So with her hands away from her body, backs of the hands on the hard floor, because that's where we started. She's laid out her body. She looks pretty similar to how she laid initially. So this is a reassessment. First time she laid down, we call that an assessment. So we're reassessing, and we're going to ask her now how she feels. Carla, how do you feel? She says great. So here's
more masses.
Okay, so her masses are massive. So there you go. That was a little taste of the rebalance sequence. You can do that on a hard roller, but my recommendation is that you cover the roller with maybe a towel where the surface isn't so harsh against your spine. That's it for Carla and Erin in the studio.